Whatever you have heard about the earthquakes in Turkey and Syria, the reality of it is far, far worse. On February 6, 2023, Turkey and Syria were struck by a 7.8 magnitude earthquake. It left tens of thousands dead and was rightfully propelled to the top of world media. However, as seems to be the case with just about every catastrophe, the Western media was quick to forget about it. And so now, months later, it's easy for us to assume that the relief effort has been an overwhelming success, that buildings have been rebuilt, and that lives have been restored. But this is, unfortunately, as I've learned very recently, far from the case. On my recent tour to Turkey, I had the opportunity to visit some of the communities that were hit the hardest by the earthquake. The largest of these being Adiyamen, a major city in southeastern Turkey, and the much smaller but equally devastated Ahmethoca village, which is situated in the mountains about 20 minutes to the north. These are the two major settlements which we targeted with the fundraising relief effort that my team and I did several months ago. With your help, we managed to raise $56,000, which is going to go a very long way in restoring these communities. And I'll tell you what we're doing with that money later, but right now I think that it's more important to address the reality of the situation there. Because while it feels really good and easy to talk about fundraisers and all pat ourselves in the back, I think that it's more important now to talk about the gravity of what I saw while I was there. My crew and I had the opportunity to speak and meet with the villagers, and with the help of a translator, we're able to hear their stories. And I share all of this with you now not to try and capitalize on catastrophe, but because I have never seen these stories told. Even in the news, it was all CCTV footage and large numbers showing how many were dead and injured. And while those are striking, I have never felt more pained by a situation than when I was speaking to a man who was standing in front of the place where a house had collapsed with him in it, and he had to pull the corpse of his son out of it. When I entered the Ahmethoca village, I felt an immense amount of pride for what we were able to do and how much money we were able to raise. But walking through and speaking with the people there, it was humbling, because we can raise as much money as we want, and yes, we can rebuild homes and we can get lives back on track, but there is nothing that you can do to be able to rebuild the sheer loss that every single one of these people has experienced. And I think that us, as a predominantly Western audience who are at the whim of the news cycle, have a right to see what is going on in the world now, months after the earthquake, and how the situation has hardly improved, with government aid giving very little to this part of the world, especially in the small villages. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I would like the people of Adiyamen and Ahmethoca to be able to share their stories with you. I would like to give a massive thank you to Ramazan, who helped us translate while we were there and was our guide for the entirety of the Turkey trip. And I would also like to give a huge thank you to the people of Ahmethoca village for speaking with us and allowing us to bring cameras into your homes. Know that my heart, as well as those of my viewers, are with you, and I'd like to thank you for sharing your stories with us. What you are about to see is footage of Adiyamen, a city who alone has witnessed the death of over 10,000 of its residents. While some buildings are still standing, they are completely unrepairable. Any buildings that were lucky enough to be left standing are completely beyond repair and uninhabitable. They are split and fractured with cracks that are so structurally damaging that they have been known to just spontaneously collapse.
The Chinese people, they build it. Like China.
Wow. And then the flood happened.
Jesus.
Yeah,
oh my God. Oh my God.
I've been in center of the earthquake area, like exactly the center.
Really?
Yeah, like this city, around like 60 or 70% of the destroyed, but in that city it's like 20%.
Really?
I got shocked. Like, I think it's about the land that they use in here.
Oh, I see.
The building style.
Are some people living in the building still?
No. Almost no one are living in the building.
And how many people do you think died ultimately?
For this city?
Yeah.
Like I think more than 10,000.
And what about total?
Total, like official number, they say like 50,000.
50?
Yeah, but I think it's more than 50,000.
Because you said you helped bury like 30 people, right?
Around 50.
50?
50,000.
And those people didn't have any documents about their burials?
Like probably.
So what do you think the actual number is?
I think it's around 200,000.
And seeing as these massive concrete buildings once housed most of the population of Adiyamen, those who survived the catastrophe are now left to live in tents. A small mountain town that before the earthquake had a population of just around 100. But in the earthquake's aftermath saw the destruction of 80% of its buildings and the death of 25 of its residents. So, was this part of this home that came down here?
Yeah, actually this home was older than this one.
Really?
They first built this home, the family, then after they built the second one. But this part all destroyed. Now they have a tent.
Yeah.
And they have this place to live. But they started to live this place after the rains they done.
Oh, yes, because of the flooding, I see. And I know that when we were, over there was a lot of buildings that had their structural integrity was really damaged, even though they're still standing. Are these buildings here still safe to, like, be inside of?
Ayakta kalan evlerin çoğu sağlam yapılar.
Those homes, they are like a little bit stronger than the home that they built in city center. But still there is a big damage on those homes too. But people, they're still living in there.
Gotcha, I see.
And he's saying like all the other places in the village, you can see with your own eyes that they're destroyed. Like I think around yarısı yıkıldı bence. Around 65 or 70% they destroyed in this village.
Really?
Yeah.
Do any of them need to be torn down? I know that was a case in some of the other places we've been as well, where buildings have been damaged and need to come down even if they didn't fully fall. Or are these ones going to just stay?
Şu an
Hastalıkta yapabilecekleri var mı?
zaten yıkılacak olanlar yıkılacak.
He's saying like most of the home that they had the big damage, they all destroyed. But probably they didn't touch those kind of homes. They will let them to stay. And also the reason that they will destroy those homes too, that they will no place to stay.
I see. So if we wanted to move up here, so how many homes were on this hillside?
The owner of this place was used that building to make a place for their animals. And when closed down, like around the 70% animal, they die. Like after 6 days, the dead body of the animals, they start to smell. And that can create some disease actually. You know, like just imagine around like 100 sheep that are dying here, and they will start to smell, and the village also will start to smell, and for that reason it's not good to be in here.
Yeah.
And for that reason, like it was important to clean up.
Yeah, and you said it was the same thing for some of the people who got killed in the collapses too,
totally.
Right? You showed up here, what, 4 days after the earthquake?
We just start to clean, like we started Thursday, it was done at 5.
Wow. And you said one of these houses up here had people in it when it collapsed, right?
Yeah, some were here, some were here too. Bu insanların içinde olduğu evler neler?
Burada bir
One was here,
burada bir kadın
was
vefat
woman,
etti.
other stuff.
Burada bir ev vardı.
Was another home somewhere here.
Yeah.
That was the people under.
And so this happened early in the morning, right? This was at
Around
like 4 in the morning?
10, yeah.
So what were the experiences of the people? Like what did you guys remember of this?
Deprem anında zaten biz
Happened like around the 10:17. Sorry, 4:17. And with that time was sleepy, and we just woke up. We just tried to take our kids and our old people into home, and they live in somewhere here actually.
Oh, I see.
Like they live actually in the school.
Yeah.
Because they closed their school like I think around maybe 10 or 15 years ago, and they used the school like a home. And the school they are like more strong than normal home. They just run out of the home, and that's why he said like my brother have like a big light. He just tried to search the area, and we see that those homes in here like directly.
Wow.
They clap. Then after we see a lot of people, they are just running to somewhere else, like to try to find the people who they are like they can take them under the stuff. And he said like there was a rain and there was so much snow around. The weather was so cold. We just put the kids and the old woman in the car, and we try to do enter not any building, start staying outside, and they kind of like make a fire to will be around.
Was there anything that you guys could do after the initial earthquake to be able to help the people who were, you know, in some of the buildings that were collapsed over here? Or was the rubble too heavy to be able to move without machinery?
Tabii ki
Malzemeler
zor.
almak.
Zor olur lan.
Çok zor oldu çünkü
Like, normally the stuff that they have in the village is more less heavy than they have in city because they use the wood or those kind of things. But still, it said like was so hard to just work because the weather was so cold, like around minus like 15 or 20 degree. And before we come, they just put I think around like 15 or 16% with their hands, and they put all of the dead body in a room in school.
Wow.
And then after when we come, we just use the machine to take the other people who they are dead. And then after the bad things that time the ground also was frozen.
Oh.
And they cannot
We must
make a
never
place
send
for
you.
them.
What ended up happening with the bodies that were recovered from the rubble?
They have a graveyard in there,
Sure.
and we make the grave for them. We put them in there. But normally in Islam, you have to wash their body, and they have to be without clothes. They have to have like something like a white dress, you know. They put them with that. But that time, it was not possible to find something like that.
What happened here? Is this one that is like partially going to be restored or repaired?
yapışık iki evde.
The owner of this place, he said like, do not destroy my home. The government, do not touch my home.
And what has the government sort of intervention been like here in the wake of the disaster? Has there been much relief targeted here?
Like mostly they targeted on the city center because the damage was really so big in city center too. And then after I think 1 week they start to just move to the village and just see the situation in the village. But all like generally mostly for like first week 80% the help is come from the volunteer.
Really?
Like 80 or 19 even.
And was most of the volunteer force from the village?
No, from the outside.
Really?
From the Shanurfa, like people like me, you know, randomly.
Yeah.
Like, but I was the first, like after us, because I know some friends that they use social media, right? We just tell them that they have to just post some stuff about the villages too.
Yeah.
And after people all around the Turkey, day 6, they start to be in the village.
Wow, that's amazing. So that worked out really well then.
That will
That's
work
great.
well actually. A lot of people like all around Turkey.
So what would the plan be, I guess, moving forward? How do you, are you planning on rebuilding homes? What is, you know, the immediate relief effort needed to, you know, restore this place so that people can have places to live and, you know, everything they need to survive?
Buraları ne zaman yaparlar? He's saying like we don't have exactly the idea, but some people who they work in the government, they say like they're gonna build another village or hold this village to move somewhere else.
Really?
Yeah, like in this side actually.
Zemin sağladığına göre yapılıyor.
He's saying like we don't know exactly when will be, and also there's some people they say like they're gonna build their home in here. Like even they didn't have an exactly answer. It's gonna they build the home in here or somewhere else.
Yeah, why is it that they're thinking about moving to a different location?
I think the reason is about those stuff.
Oh,
And
I
fall
see,
down.
I see. Yeah, I
If
guess that
again
makes sense.
earthquake happens.
Yeah, because there was like boulder slides on the hill
Yeah.
over there. That makes a lot of sense.
Here there was some people they die, but most of them was from down.
Was over here?
Yeah. There was a home in here. All the people they didn't use this home to live,
Yeah.
but they was in there.
Oh, and that one also, the roof
Yeah.
came in?
There was like a 2 parts, like around 5 person in this place. They had like a small kids. He just around like 4 o'clock. He just want to go to the toilet, but toilet is outside.
Yeah,
And the parents, the mom, she helped him
yeah.
to go, and the earthquake happened that time,
Wow.
and they just stay alive. Now all the people at home they die, and he's saying like there was our cousins.
How many people were in the home?
5 kişi falan mıydı?
Toplam 5 kişiydi, 3 kişi zaten sağ
Like-
çıktı.
2 person they died. 3 person they escaped. Nasıl iyi misin? He was the owner of the home.
Oh, really? Where were you when the earthquake happened?
Deprem oldu sen neredeydin?
Ben de Şerenkaz'da kaldım.
He was also under the stuff.
Ben Moğol'la işte babamı kaybettim.
He just lost his father and his son.
Ben
I
üniversitede
remember that day.
21 yaşında.
He was 21 years old.
Oh my god.
Ben de arada kaldım, o tarafta çıktım.
He just was under the stuff in there, and he just skip out from the stuff outside.
And I'm trying to like wrap my head around it. It's hard to, I don't know, be able to fully comprehend it. And how many people lived in this village before the earthquake?
It was more than
200'ün üzerinde.
More than like around 100 person they live, but around 25 of the person they died.
Wow.
And the things that he's saying like 80% of the city destroyed. When it got
5. gün.
like
Önce
after the
beşinci gün.
earthquake, day 5, they had electric.
O da
Like
benim,
for 5 days they didn't have.
yine benim
Wow.
sayemde oldu.
And they
Really?
just give the electricity to the summer, like school, this place, some place, bazı yerlere veriyor.
Yani bazı yerlere oldu.
Just some place.
Her
not
yer
all.
Wow,
onları iptal
yeah.
et.
Were you asleep when the earthquake happened?
Sen uyuyor muydun?
Uyuyordum, benim oğlan küçük oğlan bağırdı, baba diye bağırdı.
He was
O
sleepy,
şekilde
just
uyandım.
young child, he just
Uyandığımda
yelled
pencereye
at him.
atladım ben. Pencereye
And
baktım.
when he just feel, he just try to jump from the window.
Wow. Where do you live now?
Şimdi nerede kalıyorsun?
Gözce buralarda işte ben bir de kalıyorum.
And now he's just staying with the
Şuramına
his
gittim ben.
uncle. He stay in
Geldim.
another city.
So, do you plan to do anything with this area? Are you planning to like rebuild on this spot?
Burasıyla ilgili
Bu badem bahçesi var.
onun apartmanı. They want to build a new village. There's some tree. Did you see on the road?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Behind of that.
Okay, and that's because the like cliffs
Yeah,
pose a threat.
yeah.
And
But
the-
still, some people in the village they don't want to move from here.
yeah.
To there.
Do you think those people are gonna stay?
Some people they want to stay, and he said like I don't know in the future I want to build my home again here.
Yeah, yeah.
You cannot go from to live in another city. If you grew up in the village culture, you cannot be adapted in the big city.
Yeah.
It's not easy. From this place to here, there was 3 homes in there.
Up there.
Yeah,
3 ev vardı.
like 3 person they died. The home that in the middle, and another place that they had a home, like one small girl she died.
2 ev vardı.
There was 2 home in here,
And what happened to the inhabitants here? Did they make it out?
and not exactly here. There was a home in here. That now we are in home. There was an old person who lived in that home. He would like he was safe. He would just have a big, scarf
Oh, on
in his
his arm.
hand.
Yeah.
But this one,
Yeah.
the back to the family, that home, like 6 person later.
Here.
Yeah, there was just father. He just alive.
Oh my god.
All the family there. The 2 of his daughter, they was married, and they was just come to do visit them in here, and one of them was pregnant.
Really? And it just happened
Yeah.
to be when they came to visit? Does the man who survived this, does he still live here?
No, he moved another city because there was one of his daughter that who is studying in outside of the Adiyaman, another city far from here. He's not with here. That's 2 person in family. If I will be I will never come.
Yeah,
to this village.
I don't blame him. I don't know what I would do.
Hoş bulduk, nasılsın?
You said that these were volunteers from where?
America.
Did they use? America?
Yeah, I met with them in another village. They tell me that they built this not for living. They built this if earthquakes again happen, then the people can come stay in here.
Really? So
So
these
this
are
is a-
like fallback shelters,
Yeah,
just
yeah.
in case.
And they build those ones so fast. Like during 10 minutes they build and they went
Really?
somewhere else. Yeah. They just put their stuff inside.
Yeah. Oh, I see.
Yeah, and you can just be
Yeah.
close. They just put their stuff
I see.
to protect from the rain. and everything.
Yeah. Yeah. How did the flood affect the village after the earthquake? Because you guys are on a hill, but I mean, it would have come.
He's saying like when the flood happened in this area, most of the people they just tent.
Really?
Yeah.
And the tents had everything that they still had.
It was big damage actually. Do you want to show us his tent in here?
Yeah, absolutely.
They are leaving now.
For sure.
This is the place that now they stay.
Here?
Yeah, you can.
Oh, thank you.
now?
Yeah.
How many people are living in here?
7 or 8 persons they are living in here.
So was this structure already here and it's just
Yeah,
been
yeah,
altered? I see. Gotcha.
They met themselves by themselves.
Wow.
Burası öyle.
Ooh. Huh.
Yok.
Oh yeah.
He, olmuyor, çalışmıyor.
Sıcağını. Buraya kapatıp o zaman ateş koyuyor. Başka olmuyor.
Ooh, yes.
He.
Wow. And this just runs out there. I see. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Dur.
I'd like to thank you all very much for watching, and here at the end I'd like to at least give an update on how the fundraising went. I know that it seems a little bit moot after watching, you know, what we have, but we were able to make a really big difference. With your help, we were able to raise $56,000, which is a lot of money, but in this part of the world it is even more money. And because of that, with this $56,000, we are going to be able to buy not one, not two, but 8 container homes, each capable of housing an entire family. With these container homes, we hope to be able to rehome every single person in the Ahmethoca village who is currently without a permanent structure to live in. Tangential to this, we are also going to be able to buy air conditioning and heating units for all of these structures. The area of Turkey that these settlements are in is subject to very large seasonal temperature changes. Part of the reason why the February earthquake was so devastating was because it was so cold. And so even those who survived the collapse of their homes were then left to the mercy of exposure. And so with air conditioning and heating units, we're probably going to be able to make these homes long-term viable solutions for around 40 inhabitants. And we're going to be using the remaining funds to get as many food boxes as possible. These are boxes that contain non-perishable goods like beans and rice, cooking ingredients like olive oil, spices, salt, things like that. And each one of these boxes is capable of feeding a family for a month. And hopefully we aim to get around 200 of these boxes, which you can imagine how much of a difference that can make. I'd like to thank you all very much for watching. Now, while the fundraiser that my team and I did is closed, I will leave some links in the description for places where you can help contribute to the relief effort. And just know that, you know, as someone who has been there and walked those streets, I tried to share it with you, but I can promise you that, you know, the money is going to a good place, and I can't think of anyone right now who needs it more than these people do. I'd like to thank you all for watching, and I promise the next video is going to be getting into more of the topic, you know, subject of Turkey, but this one was one that I think needs to be talked about, because even though the other ones are fun, this is important, and frankly, I have all the time in the world for that. My name is Milo Rossi. Remember, stay curious, stay inquisitive. Yeah, and remember that you can make a difference. Thanks again.